Mask Media.
I want to take a little time to give you guys some perspective on my journey into this creative world, into this entrepreneurship thing. And it's funny because it all starts way back.
Once, long, long ago, yet somehow not so very long.
Before the camera, before computers. My older sister, Cassandra, I don't know if I would say she was an artist, but she used to love to sketch. She used to love to draw. And it was one of those things where she never really was taught. She just had that talent. And I was fascinated with that.
Oh my God! Wow!
Knowing that, my sister had this talent, I felt like it had to be in my bloodline. Also, my cousin, Carl, he used to draw as well. And I mean, he was like sick, like crazy with it. So, with that so close to me, I figured like, let me start putting pencil to paper and see what I got. So I was okay as far as drawing, and I wanted to get better at it. So in school, I mean, we're talking about like junior high school days, like 3rd, 4th, 5th grade is when I started to really like try to develop this skill. And it started, I want to say maybe around 5th, 6th grade. One of my best friends in junior high school is a guy named Stefan Frazier. Stefan was just a close childhood friend. We used to play basketball together. We were in a lot of classes together. And actually the school that I was going to at the time, his dad was the art teacher, Mr. Frazier, obviously. And, Stefan was really good at drawing. His father was good at drawing and teaching us art. But besides that, Stefan had a cousin that I never met, and I don't remember his name, but his cousin, Stefan's cousin, used to give him drawings basically like every weekend whenever Stefan used to visit his house. And Stefan would bring those drawings to school, and we would just like drool over these drawings. His cousin was like super talented. He ended up going to Art and Design High School, which is a major specialized art high school in New York City. But yeah, he used to draw these characters that it had kind of like a Dragon Ball Z anime feel.
Really? Is that so?
But the faces and it was just like different. It was like, it's hard to explain, and I don't have any documentation of it, but he was just really dope. So again, I got Carl, I got my sister, I got Stefan, I got his dad, and then I got Stefan's cousin. All of these influences around me just made me feel like, I'm gonna dive into this too. So I did that. That's junior high school. I'm developing it. By the time I get to 8th grade, it's like, all right, where am I gonna take this? I go to, not a specialized high school, but I go to a school that had an art program, Washington Irving.
Get back to the old school and wave your hands like you just don't care. Let's take it back to the old school. Let's take it to Union Square.
I was in the art house at Washington Irving in New York City. I did that all 4 years. You get all of your classes, but you have a focus on art, and you usually have more art than you have these other classes. So that's what I did. I also played basketball while I was there. I met a lot of cool guys that I'm still friends with to this day, a lot of art students that I'm still friends with to this day. And once I graduated high school, it was like, okay, what am I gonna do now? Am I still gonna push art? Like, where am I at with it? I had a conversation with my dad. My dad was like, whatever you do, make sure computers are involved. And I was like, all right, well, let me figure that out. So I brought the art world that I knew I had a passion for to the computer world, and I ended up majoring in graphic design at St. John's University.
There once was a squad from Jamaica, Queens, that went by the name of New York's team.
at St. John's University is where I developed a lot of my fundamental skills for just like art, digital art, you know, just design in general, graphic arts, so on and so forth. I also learned how to develop actual film in a dark room at St. John's University. So that was a beautiful experience, and that was my introduction to the camera. After that, I got my own DSLR, and later on, years later, you know, I got a mirrorless camera, and I just kept going. So that's just like a sneak peek into my journey and the timeline of how things went for me. It's cool to look back at it now because I didn't know what I was doing then. I was just like interested in something and I just kept doing it. I mean, when I was a kid, one of my first ways to really practice is I used to watch Dragon Ball Z on TV and I would tape it on a VHS tape. And later on, I would watch the tape back, I'd pause it, and I would draw what was ever on the screen at the time. And that was like my first like practice, my first sketches and so on and so forth. So it's like, you know, I think I really wanted to drop this video just to like motivate people. You know, you start somewhere and you never know where you're gonna end up. And when you look back at it all, I mean, it's just a beautiful thing to see how far you've come.